We're recording now. Can everybody just like say something really fast?
Really fast, really fast.
Branded best deck.
If I were to say something, I think I would actually opine continuously rather than keep it
Oh
short.
no, the thing we need to talk about is Kirby Air Ride fucking gets the
Yes.
remake or a new one. I don't know, but it's fucking Pog.
It's a new one because it's Riders, not Rider.
The issue is
Air Ride,
I have a deep feeling that because again, I don't know. I want to believe it's a new one, but
the map they showed was new, so ergo.
no, the
new.
map they did. That's one of the race. That's the basic race map. That's the grass one.
Yeah, but it was let me.
Adam, can you say something real fast so we can start?
I haven't seen the direct yet. They're spoiling it for me.
Okay, so
That really
actually,
sucks.
I did have on my list of things to talk about was the direct if we had time.
I think it's very clear. I think this is very funny. I only watch the parts that interest me. I watched the Kirby Air Ride trailer, and then the ZA thing, and then the Silk Song hype. That's all I watched.
I
All right.
turned it 6 times speed, and then I watched it, and when something interests me, I slowed it down.
Fair. I watched the part that showed us the price, and then I went up to my wife and I said, "Hey, babe, the Switch is $450 and games are like $80. I know we're purchasing a house literally in 2 weeks. However, what do we
I'm buying
think?"
this.
And then she was like, "No, I don't think it's gonna work out." And I said, "Consider the following: there's a bundle with Mario Kart World, and she fucking loves Mario Kart. That's her favorite game. It's the only thing she's
That's
ever
fun.
played on the Switch." And so she was like, "Pray tell." And then she pulled up a chair and we watched the trailer together.
No, the new one fucking looks sweet as shit, man.
It looks cool. I
Yeah.
don't really care about Mario Kart, so like I hope when I will get a Switch 2 eventually. I might wait for Pokemon ZA to do it, but I will get it eventually.
What? Hold the weed in the butt. How do you not like Mario Kart? What is
I
this?
just don't care about Mario Kart, man.
What do you mean?
What do
Because
what do you
he's
mean?
too
What do I
cool
mean?
For Mario Kart, guys.
They've been
He's
downhill
just
since
too
the Wii.
cool.
It's been
What?
down-
Oh, hold the back. You need to back the fuck up.
Oh my god.
Mario Kart
Downhill
8
since the
and
gameplay.
Deluxe is like one of the best Mario Kart games ever fucking made.
That's why they made it 7 times.
That's why they
That
did
is
it 7
true.
times.
Crazy, like it was good.
Frankly, I'm surprised that that thing lasted from the end of the when did it come out? End of the Wii U, and never did anyone ask for a second Mario Kart.
Deluxe, and DLC,
They did DLC. The
That's
DLC
the same
was
thing.
cool.
That's functionally the
and
same.
they
game.
did patch notes.
I'm sure they
buffed
did. I don't
characters
care.
and characters.
Howdy, everybody. My name is Grant. I'm here with 4 lovely individuals this time. First up is the usuals, Nick
Hello.
and Noah.
They topped the YCS, guys.
That's not important. I'm just introducing people. We'll get to that. And then we're also here with Nick's teammates at the YCS, that being Adam
Hello.
and Rico.
Branded best deck.
You didn't even play Branded at this event. How can you say it's the best deck?
He thought about it. He
He
fucking
thought about it.
it.
You can't be
I
doing
did.
this, man.
I always think about it.
You always think about it. All right, Mr. One Regional a year. So,
I got my invite with Branded with it, so
I'm sure you did. We still don't know what event that was from, do we?
I only played in one event that could qualify me for the WCQ, and that was when I played Branded.
I guess you got it there. I guess we just screwed up the
We also have
numbers.
to talk about the fact that it doesn't. It was mine because we literally didn't think you had your invite, and then after the watch, she's like, "Oh, maybe you got your invite. Oh no, you don't get one for the team event, but you somehow have your invite."
We don't really know how, and Konami do not look into it because we don't want to have it verified.
He's just that
Branded
good.
best deck.
Anyway, so these gentlemen, not me and Noah, we're bad. But Nick, Adam, and Rico went to YCS Las Vegas, the 3v3, and they got top 16 at the event. I think it was 14th after Swiss, if that's right.
That is correct.
All right, so this episode we're just going to be talking about the YCS. We might briefly cover some maze implications from the YCS, and then we have a special treat if we have time at the very end. So guess we'll start with what everybody played. Adam, what did you play?
I played Bestial Fiendsmith. I was the only person in top 16 to be playing that deck.
I see you got the one sliver, right?
I was the one little sliver on the pie chart, yeah.
Is there a specific reason you chose that deck, or is it just because it was the deck you were playing? You felt most comfortable with it?
I wanted to play some sort of Fiendsmith variant, and Nick was playing Fiendsmith Ryziel, and I didn't want him to copy me, so I just picked a different Fiendsmith
Didn't want
variant.
him
I
to
thought that was the
copy
best
you.
version.
Yeah, you didn't want me to copy you, even though I've been playing the feats with cards longer. But okay.
Adam's so
Was
attached to
Kingsmith
the
Rysio
Rysio
actually
cards.
on the table?
I'm
For
sorry.
you?
No,
I could have. We had the Rysio cards, and that was an option for me. But I
Okay.
said I didn't want to play a deck that I don't know what the cards do.
You don't know what the Rysio
You
cards
know, that's
do?
fair.
I do, but I could use that argument to not
Dog,
play
I
the
play
deck.
Malice and I know what those cards do.
Yeah, I know what they do.
You just said you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now
moving
that the
on.
event's over, I know what they do.
Nick, you
got
played.
there about round 7.
He figured it out eventually.
I played Fiendsmith Raziel. I pretty much took a list very similar to the list I played at the regional I got top 8 at.
For those who don't know, I'm the one who records and edits all the videos for the channel, and so I recorded all of his deck profiles. And in the back end, there's like 3 Ryziel deck profiles. It's like Nick again, and the third one is we gotta stop this guy.
Listen, the deck's good. I like that deck. It's a lot of fun.
It's statistically now the deck that you've done the most well with.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I put way more time into fucking playing race, and then this is the deck that I pop off with.
It's
Okay,
crazy.
game.
And then Rico, who I think has made it to 7 locals over the course of all of 2025. What did you play?
I bought 3 structure decks, and then they handed me some cards, and I put them in the deck. They were a little expensive, so I didn't
I
wanna
seem
buy
to
them.
recall them being ripped away from Adam to be put in your deck.
This is true.
This is
This is true.
This is true. Okay, just making sure.
We slapped the Primite cards in his hand. He had a good time.
Had a good time. Man
Yeah.
got to play Boomer Dragons.
My personal record was X2, so I think it was
Pretty
pretty
good.
alright.
Gotcha. Is there a reason you play that deck? Because I know you also play, I guess, Branded is the one you're known for, but you also play Malice. Is there a reason you chose the Boomer Dragons?
Branded just has a horrible Malice matchup. They play 6 copies of Ash Blossom, and they have a 3 target DD Crow like on command, so I can't really play against that with Branded. And Malice, I was just a little bit scared of my opponent's Searching Lancia against me,
Mm-hmm.
but I was content with getting that done against me. But just the Blue Eyes cards, after like watching and playing with them, they offer so much utility and like skill expression compared to Malice, where it's just I only have one thing to play. I get hand trapped, I lose, or I have 2 ways to play and I play through 3 hand traps.
Mm-hmm.
And the other interesting thing was, I think a lot of people go into like a big event like that, and they think Blue Eyes is bad into Raziel, and I think all day, I think he was like perfect against Raziel. I don't think he lost
Yep.
a game.
Nope.
It was insane.
I only lost to Mermail because I had 2 hand traps and they had 2 extenders, and then I lost to Malice because Shifter's a good card.
Shifter's a good card.
Yeah.
Alright. Do you guys want to take us? I know you probably don't remember every single round, but do you want to take us kind of like over the highlights of your matchups?
Sure, we can do that. So, across through Swiss, I ended X3 overall. I lost to a Mermail player because my opponent opens up for 1/1. I Ash and then just normal summon Neptuous. I'm like, cool, we lose. I lose that, and then I lose to a Fiendsmith Malice player. The second to last round of day 1, and because we're in this massive grind game, and I lose because I end up having the dump aggregator early on with X, and then I can't Metal Tronus anything in the matchup, which meant I was just kind of screwed. And then I lost day 2 to a pure Fiendsmith player because I got hit with Talents Game 1, Talents Game 3, and then got blown out by every breaker in existence.
Do you want to enlighten us what happened in your last round of Swiss?
Oh,
Me?
Shockingly, our opponents did not show up the last round of Swiss.
Which is
Mind-blowing.
mind-blowing.
But I think across
We all kind of
for
just
me,
thought that there's no way we're topping after that.
Yeah.
I feel like
'Cause I
you
thought
show up though, right?
they showed up for the first run of day 1 and then either lost or something. But across the board, I think most of the matchups I experienced was mostly the metagame. I played against a lot of mirror matches, and I won all of my mirror matches. The only time I ever felt like I was in a losing position in a mirror match is when I got hand trapped 3 or 4 times, and that just didn't happen very often. So.
Adam, you want to take us through your matchups, the interesting ones through Swiss?
Yeah, I ended X2 through Swiss. My 2 losses were to a pure Ryziel. During the first round of day 2, my hand just wasn't very strong into their full board, and I wasn't able to play through it. And then in day 1, I lost to a Malice because Shifter is a very good card.
I'm seeing a common theme here.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Were there any like
And then
wacky
what?
wins throughout the day, or not so much?
Nothing really crazy.
I think an interesting thing that happened is Adam won a game in playing against Phoenix with Raziel because he makes Crazy Beast and he steals his opponent Paradise and it sits underneath the Crazy Beast for turns and his opponent just can't get the Paradise to the grave. They actually have an interaction live. So that was kind of funny.
I see.
I did just hold that, yeah. And then during top 16, I lost to the same pure Ryziel we played round 1 of day 2 because my game 2, I drew all 3 of my Fenrirs.
Mm. You
Go,
see, you want to
Kashira.
see one of it, you know.
Yeah, I kind of picked him up and I'm like, huh, this guy's pretty cool. I like him. I'm probably gonna lose, but I like Fenrir. He's cool.
I literally he tells me this afterwards and I didn't realize. But in my game 2 hand in top 16, my hand was Ice X sword sword sword. I was like, wow. This is like the one time I don't like playing 3 of this card.
Adam, you chose to sideboard the Fenrir, is that right?
Yeah, I did that because it's really good going going first. Sorry, going second, it's a good card, but it conflicts with all the Bystials just because they put themselves on the board.
Mm-hmm. So is that something you wanted versus like a card like Strike, or like a Floodgate?
I put it over like a Floodgate. Anytime I went first, I put in the 3 Fenrir and I also put in 3 Strike.
Gotcha.
I would take out the Chummies and then a couple hand traps that weren't very good into the matchup, and then just do that.
Gotcha. And Rico, your matchups.
My matchups were basically just Malice and Ryziel. I lost to the one Mermail player because that deck is just a hand show, and then kind of figure out from there. But other than that, it was just kind of like good grinds back and forth. That's what my deck just does. If I see both engines and I live to my next turn, I just win from there, just from the recursion and just the grind that I can produce. It was pretty solid. Like I said earlier, the deck really allows for a lot of skill expression. The team that we lost to in the top 16 and we played them in Swiss, once I figured out they're on just pure board breakers, I just kind of set up a board that does not care and it has like a whole bunch of layers. And I have no issues against the breakers at all. Other than that, just trying to read what my opponents were playing, seeing what their teammates were playing, and just playing around those hand traps, which was pretty nice. Easy to do with this deck as long as you know exactly all that your cards do. Yeah, just a lot of fun to play Brick Eyes.
Who did you guys sit in the
I
middle?
hate that card.
Nick was in the middle.
I was the B player, yep.
So I know that. I know that for most of you guys' 3v3s, Nick's in the middle. Is there a specific reason for that, or is it just like where you guys feel comfortable?
Those two don't look to left or right. That's the issue. I will at least, even if I'm in the middle of the game, I try to pay attention to what's going on in their games and try to be able to help whenever needed. But if like the issues, especially with like a deck like Blue Eyes or like Bystial Fiendsmith, like those decks take too much. Like you're too deep into like a grind game to try to pay attention to other stuff going on. Like with Fiendsmith Raziel, like you can have games that are really quick blowouts. I 2-0'd a lot of my opponents and then spent the entire rest of the round like helping Rico or Adam in whatever situation they were in and talking through ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So
Quote on helping.
He did try and do that, yeah.
listen, just because like, I don't know what to tell you two. If you two like, I'm trying to ask what's going on and like trying to understand so I can help. It's like
He did fine.
He did fine.
He did fine.
That's really interesting, like, especially because I feel like over the course of the day I heard so much Mermail, and the first time I heard it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a really good, just either you win or you don't.
we're very lucky no Mermail players paired into Adam, because if they pair into Adam, Adam just kind of instantly takes an L. Like there's not much
Yeah.
we can do.
Yeah.
My 7 Bystials just kind of sit there and do nothing, and
And
I'm
that's
not
then you
really-
put in Fenrir in next games and you win.
well, yeah,
hopefully.
Fenrir does beat Mermail.
little bit of behind the scenes. We went to a 3v3 in a locals near us on was it Saturday? I think it was Saturday. And one of my team members was playing Mermail, so we like figured out which seat Adam was in, and we tried to pair him into Adam so that he would get the auto win.
Yeah.
I spent the entire time before that event trying to figure out what seat our buddy was in, so that would not happen.
We stood in the order in front of you and said while we were lining up, and we said take a guess, and then you guessed wrong.
Look, listen, you cannot blame me.
Yes,
It's like,
I can.
it's
I was in the
obvious.
middle, and you guessed that Sam was in the middle. Like, there are 2 correct answers and one wrong one, and that was the wrong one.
I wasn't gonna try to metagame a local 3v3. If
Oh.
I paired it in Mermail, I paired it in Mermail, and lucky.
Rerun it.
You're right.
And really, that's what this game is all about, instead of try-hardy bullshit. But
That's
I
true.
really so. You guys kind of talked about your deck choice, but Rico, I feel like specifically you said you played really well into Rizio all day. How did you do that when one of your engines is just a card that if detonators on the field it never resolves? I'm really curious.
For which one is it? True Light?
Well, I
Or-
guess that, but Lordly Load.
Oh, so Lordly Load, the only thing that really matters on activation is just adding the Primate card to like barrel. But if that gets stopped, I can still either normal summon barrel and set it later, and then just flip it face up, or if I want to set drill beam if I know I have enough gas to break through the board. So most of the time, I play. Let me see. I play like 20 hand traps.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm basically only going to let them get to detonator, and my deck, as long as the normal summon doesn't get destroyed on summon, I can play through basically detonator and another Xyz if they have enough gas to do that, or any hand traps. Maiden just sets True Light from the deck or graveyard at any point, so I can break their board, activate True Light, or bait out all the detonator destructions, activate it, and then just full combo by searching Wishes. Or I can save Wishes for last, grab Maiden, grab Roar, and then I got a Synchro. And I do play Talents in my main, so as long as I see that card, I can just use anything, bait out one detonator, Talents take it, and then I just go for Zeus on top of it.
All right. So one other thing I noticed is that you and Adam both said that you played very grindy, very skill-intensive decks, but I believe your guys' goal was to top. So just take me through that kind of thought process. Did you guys really think that you were just the better players that day? You were just going to have the mental wherewithal?
Yes.
I mean,
I've been
yeah, there's
playing in
part-
the competitive scene for a while. The average Yu-Gi-Oh player will make mistakes over the course of the days, and I just feel like I'll make them less mistakes compared to them, and I won't really feel like the pressure from getting either the top cut or knowing we're in like an elimination round. I've been there multiple times for like regionals and stuff, and I'm just kind of used to it now. I feel like as long as I know my cards more than my opponents, I'll be able to win.
Interesting. Okay. So one other thing, I feel like you three specifically have really I don't know, leveled up in these past 2 or so years. Because I feel like when Grant and I started playing, it was very every third regional or every other regional you'll place to get your invite. But now it's you're probably top eighting, or if all 3 of you go to an event, it's more likely than not that you're top eighting a regional and now topping a YCS. Do you guys feel like you've kind of really improved at the game? And if so, how do I do that?
I think part of it is we kind of started playing real decks.
Yeah.
Like,
As
I've been
opposed to,
playing
like,
Cash for
dinos
like the
or
past
what?
2 years. Yeah, I stopped playing dinos. Nick stopped playing Rescue Ace.
I don't know. I think Adam's point, we're playing real decks, actually plays a role, but I think a lot of it comes down to and I'm gonna say this, and this is it's gonna sound really dumb, but I think there's a level of having a level of confidence going into an event makes so much of a difference. Because going into Vegas, I had top eighted the two regionals I went to before this event, and I felt really good going into Vegas. Like I truly knew the deck I was playing, I knew how to pilot it well, I knew the metagame across the board. Like I genuinely just felt really good going to an event, and that honestly doesn't feel like it happens very often. In all honesty, I don't think that to me that felt like it played a big role.
All right. Yeah, it was just your day, which is, as important as anything else.
Yep.
Mhm.
And kind of going back to your question of like we've leveled up, we're all kind of competitive with each other, and when Adam got his first top 8, we did not want to be left in the dust, so we all just kind of kicked it up a little bit.
I can agree there. I think when Adam got his top 8, I was so furious.
He
I was
was
so
malding
mad.
for months.
It was frustrating. I felt like I put more effort in, and then I took forever to get there. You know what I mean?
You
The man played.
I was
The man
I
played
was happy
cash
for
at a
my
regional,
friends
and
when
it
they
worked.
got their top.
I was happy for you too. Yo, I was popping off, but
listen.
I
You guys,
wanted it too.
y'all don't know. We saw Adam get his first top, and then Nick got his like 2 months later, and then Adam got his second top, and that's when I could feel Nick starting to get upset.
And that what it makes what matters worse from my perspective. It was Adam, then Rico, then I got my first one. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that and then Adam went again, and then I got my 2. So currently, out of the 3 of us, I have the most top 8. So I'll take that.
Mhm.
Just saying, I have the better conversion rate when I go to regionals.
Listen, I don't understand
Except
how
for
your
one
conversion
time.
rates be.
Except for one time, I've always made it into whatever position it is to get the invite.
No, I've done it 2 times technically. Twice.
Yeah, 2 times with Unchained.
That
No,
Unchained
no,
regional.
we gotta roll it back to Crawler. I'm pretty sure
Listen,
you did not get your
we're
invite
talking
at that
about
region.
listen, that was 2018. That
That doesn't count.
7 years ago. That does not count anymore.
All right, then Adam, as the one who officially made the first jump, do you feel like there was ever like a change? Like, how did you take it from, I guess, like a mid-level to, I think I'd be correct to say you guys are like high-level players now.
Yeah, it felt pretty good to get my first one, because I got it with Cash, which is a deck I was playing for a long time, and I just made like decent meta calls with like the non-engine I was playing during that format, and I knew that I knew I was comfortable with the deck, and I knew how to beat the meta with it. So
Very important. Well, if you don't mind me asking then, what were you guys' non-engine calls? Especially with 20 hand traps in at least one of the lists and, Bestial Fiends.
20 hand traps is baby numbers.
That's true. I was kind of slacking.
All right, who wants
I-
to go first?
You
I'll
had
let
the
you.
least, so you can go first.
Yeah.
Sure. Very similar to how I played my regional list. I ended up main decking. I ended up main decking for non-engine was 3 Fuaros, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, and then I played 3 Metaltronus main with my 2 Perulia as well in the main. And I still really like that meta call of playing those in the main deck. It works out really well. You punish Razor players for committing game 1, and they don't expect to have to play around it game 1. And generally speaking, it just felt really good. And then Metaltronus, and this is something we heard all day long, and I think Rico can attest to this. People were dogging on this card and not thinking it was that good.
Mhm.
And I think every time any of us saw that card, oh my lord, that card just instantly won me the game.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
Sorry, go ahead.
part of it's because I think you just played a lot of meta, so you had targets for it. If you would have played against a lot of rogue stuff, then it might not have been as good. But
No, even the people even the people playing the meta deck saying they played in the meta deck just didn't think the card was performing well enough for them. And I just
Right.
didn't understand because it felt like being able to trade with a detonator was just so impactful or into a Caesar. It was just super good. But
I will also say Metaltronus just randomly comes up against rogue decks. Against Whitewoods, you can hit Diabellstar by grabbing like a Bestial. Against like if you need an extender, you can grab Detonator on like against Nib if you need like link material. Like it just randomly you just realize it in the moment. It randomly comes up.
oh, and that's the other thing. I also played I think it was one or 2 Veilers and then 2 Nib as well on my deck. So those cards were good, but nowhere near the other stuff. Like they're just generically good across the board.
Mhm.
All right, Adam and Rico.
Me, I got the next smallest hand trap. So I actually lied. I'm playing 19 hand traps. I played 3 Ash, 3 Valor, 3 Purge because I can play that card, so you kind of should. It was really good. 3 Imperm, 2 Nib. That card is trash. And then 3 Fua. And then I played for like kind of breakers, the 3 talents and 1 prosperity to see either engine or to grab talents. I mean, Fua kind of stops their plays, keeps your hand big, and then all you need is just to stick a tuner and a blue eyes, and you're good for the rest of the game. Ash, Ash and Purge, beat Duo Drive, even if they set up the guy who prevents targeting, stuff like that. Baylor, pretty good. It was probably like the worst besides Nib, but the fact that I can search it just makes it really good. Or it can
Yeah.
be engine just by linking into Spirit, and then Spirit grab your blue eyes. And then the talents was crazy. Every time I saw it, I won. Yeah.
Mounts was a nuts card. That card was insane all weekend.
So sorry,
I think
Rico, you were not mating Metaltronus?
Nope, I did not play Metaltronus in any capacity.
Okay. Does it just not work out with Blue Eyes, or?
Ultimate Slayer is just better for them overall.
Okay.
Yeah. Ultimate Slayer, just so if they have the Ash, I can still play through the detonator. Because sometimes the detonator is not the problem. It can be just cross, just randomly negating something. Like a maiden effect in hand really comes up. So just outing out the detonator with Slayer just has so much more utility. Because then I can aggregate or target the field spell if they still have duo drive with the material up.
And Adam, how many did you play?
I have 25,
Oh
counting
my God.
Bystials.
Counting the Vistials. Okay, counting the Vistials. How many Vistials? You played
Yeah.
7?
7, yeah.
Gotcha. Did you? I know Vistials were kind of like coming in and out like every single week. Did you like the Vistials for this event?
I liked him for this event. I played a lot of Ryziel, Feedsmith Ryziel, so I had decent targets for it.
Mhm.
When I play into Malice, I take a few of them out, but I leave some of them in just for having access with Lebellion for the regained is crazy against that deck.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Alright.
And then the other non-engine was 3 Fua, 3 Nib, 3 Ash, 3 Valor, 3 Ogre, and 3 Imperm. I would just kind of ended on this after testing out a couple different things every week and just ended up settling on this.
Mm-hmm. And what I think is the most important question: did you guys go plus or minus gambling?
We don't get
We
no.
I went plus.
We up.
So I see 2 of you
The
went
team
plus.
was up.
Yeah.
2 out of 3
It's
were
like-
off. We'll take that. Yeah.
That's
like
a match
during the-
win in a 3v3.
I was gonna say
It's
it's like
true.
during the main event. Win.
Gotcha. All right, Noah, do you have anything else you want to talk about for this event before we move on to general like topping decks?
I don't know. I just kind of want to get your guys's like feel on why this was the event. Because you guys have kind of talked about it, but I don't know. It seems like you guys are much more comfortable in a narrower format, which is like what we're having. And I don't know. Your just general kind of takeaways, like for our listeners, definitely not for me.
I don't know. I don't know if. I don't think it had to be this event specifically, but I think this event was one of the ones that gave us the best opportunity to do well. And I think a big part of it was just going in, just saying, like, because I said this for months leading up to this. Enrico will attest to this. Of just like, I was like, I think we're gonna. I think this is the event. I think this is the one. I think we have got so. I think we got everything down. I feel really good. I feel like this is truly just the event where like everything is just gonna shake out. We're all playing a deck that's real. We're not playing anything that's not good. Like we know what's going on. You know what I mean?
If only we got to watch it.
I wish. I truly wish it would have been streamed. That would have been such a hype moment.
Yeah.
I will also say, I like when it happened when they were like announcing teams that made top 16, like I didn't really realize what was like it happened because I again we all thought it just wasn't going to happen with the fact that our tiebreakers were going to be bad. The last people we played against had to get dropped, things like that. And then when they announced it, our buddies from over from like Galaxy Busters, they popped off because they were so like there they knew it, they felt like they was just over, like it was like guaranteed to happen. So
I think the thing that actually like pushed us over the edge was our last round of day one. We beat those guys, and those guys topped. And then our first round of day two that we lost, those guys also topped. So I think those guys carried our tiebreakers up.
Yeah.
probably
Okay, one more for Rico, just because we've talked about how you haven't made it to that many locals. How did you prepare for the event, and how did you kind of make up for that? I'll say the dearth of like paper play.
I just feel like my own way of like testing, like I load up DB or I just have the physical cards and I just kind of like see what the meta trend is for what people are playing, how their end boards are looking, and just kind of try to play around everything, like see what just kind of play it out, see how my cards interact against the hand traps or the interactions, how much I even need to push for instead of just going all out just to keep myself alive. And like I said, decks that like grind, like Primite and Blue Eyes, if I make it to the next turn, I basically just win. My cards all grind on both turns, and I can just out-resource whatever anyone's playing. Also, I just feel that this format's not that hard. It just comes down more to like technical play, like actually playing instead of like sitting behind deck building, trying to figure out trends. Like everything's just kind of more streamlined, so I don't feel like I had to play it out as much, just as long as, like I said earlier, I know my cards more than my opponent know theirs. I can just outplay them or outskill them.
So picking that deck that played to your strong suits definitely had a big part in it. I feel like that's something that goes overlooked a lot in, I don't know, like the online space of being, or at least, I don't know, especially in the Discord, everyone's like, what deck should I play? And we're all like, well, what deck do you like to play? And they're like, no, that's not what I'm asking. But like,
I definitely learned that lesson by playing Unchained. It like in paper, it's a deck that you can play around anything. It does have some bricks, which is unfortunate, but every time I actually played the deck, I'm not sure what at locals I was fine, but at like regionals and stuff where people were like extremely prepared for it, I just didn't do as well. And like the deck was fine, I just didn't have as much enjoyment playing it, so maybe that was a factor with it.
Me and Rico had like the exact same experience with Unchained, whereas we were like played it at locals and did fine, and I think we both did 1-3 at that regional that we went to.
Yeah. Regional was bad. I went out on the bench and I slept.
It was great. I think we played Yahtzee at that regional.
Yep, we did.
Eh.
That was more fun than playing Unchained.
Frankly, true.
I will agree. I think that's something that people just don't. That people like hearing the answer of like, play the deck you like, and this is something where it's like, as long as the deck you're playing isn't like so far gone that it's like not good, like, what's the problem? Especially like, the only time I think that rule shouldn't apply is like maybe when you're going like you're flying out to a YCS and like the deck you're picking is like a tier 3 pick, like maybe there's a discussion there, but even then, like I feel like just play the deck you like. You're the most comfortable if you know all the interaction with, because like for a long time I played PK in like, this is during like Sword Soul, it's like Sword Soul branded format, and people didn't think that deck was that real, but I thought the deck was really good and it did really well. You just have to know what the deck did and what it wanted to do, which I think just people just fail to realize. Like as long as you understand that stuff, like you can really play whatever you want to some degree.
yeah, Well, okay, question for you. I feel like we've been focusing much more on their deck choices because, oh, Nick has been on Feedsmith Ryziel for 10 years at this point. But how do you feel that that deck plays to your strengths as a player?
Again, this goes back to what Rico was saying. I think this format is very technical, like is a technical play like driven format. Like you get to, if you play well and don't like make mistakes, like you are truly benefited for doing that. Like knowing where the choke points are and knowing what your opponent has to beat you. Like I beat multiple people that I played against at the event where like I would like, this is something this is like a very simple thing that I don't think people really think about is I summon Requiem and I ask this every time. I was like, is the summon legal? Whether it's game 1, 2, 3, whatever. I say, is the summon legal? And they go, yep. I go, using the effect with priority. And that sounds like really dumb or really stupid and like in the grand scheme of things, like, oh, it's quick effect. Like, what can they can't target it. They can't do anything to stop it. But there's a card in the format called Metal Tronus, which like I talked about, I really like. And if you don't do what I just did, you lose to Metal Tronus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like little things like that. I think just and being knowing like, okay, this is my out to this situation, and just playing to that out or playing to the strength of like, I know what I have to do, and this is like the position that gets me into the win. And I also think, as like a deck like Fiends with Raziel is a deck that gives me the opportunity to be. I really try not to be a very greedy person when I play. I'm really conservative. I don't do plays that kind of are balls to the wall unless I know my opponent doesn't have anything. But with Fiends with Raziel, it's a deck where it's like it kind of says like you make duo drive and hope it resolves because that's the only option sometimes. You know what I mean? And it just feels like, and that's something I don't see people do very often. Like they just won't make the duo drive into a setup where if they make detonator, they still lose either way. Like I don't know. It's like that. Like I really don't know what else to say other than
No, I
it's
just
just
I
kind
just wanted to ask because it feels like we've been talking about everyone else's deck, and you've obviously put in a lot of time, and I would love to hear your thoughts, even though I don't want people to think that it's the best deck, so I'm playing it. Like there's thought, there's consideration that goes into it.
no, and like I played I before Raziel even was released, and Grant will know this is like I played the Fiends with version online a lot going into before it came out because I thought it looked really cool and I thought it was good. And so the first regional that like it was the actual like thing you could play. It just came out. The first regional we had here in the Midwest, I played it, and I played against a lot of people that did not understand how like the synergy worked, like why you play it and things like that. And I won a lot of games off the back of teaching my opponent like we play a gum day because it turns the entire Featsmith combo into a 4, or I do all of this because it does the you mean so.
Yeah.
There was one specific, I think the YCS that Triff won. We were at locals while the finals was happening, and Triff won with Fiends with Ryzo. And the first thing Nick says, now everyone's gonna know what my deck does."
Mhm.
Yeah, because I was playing it for weeks up to that point. I was like, dang, now everyone knows what my stupid deck is. That's cool.
So unfortunate. All right, and with that, let's move on to just talking about the YCS in general. I've got the results pulled up in front of me. There were like two really big things, in my opinion, that came out of this. The first one was the Shark Ryziel deck, which had seen a little bit of play before, but I think the Tachyon card that just came out kind of exploded it wide open. Did you guys see that deck at the event, or was it kind of just like a surprise?
We did not play against the deck the entire day. I'm again, like I said, I think majority of what we played against was the Fiendsmith version of the deck. Because I think people truly going into the event thought it was the best deck, and I still think that deck's really good, even with the Shark version around. The Shark version is really good if you don't want to respect Droll. The second that Droll's really popular, I think that deck gets a lot worse because you really need to see cross out. Otherwise, you're really just doing like basic lines of like I make detonator pass or things like that. But
Yeah, that's fair.
We also did play against Pure Ryziel. That's the one that we actually lost to.
yeah, but they were just doing the generic like breaker with like Pot of Desires setup.
Nick, I know that you've been playing the Shark version for a little bit at the locals last couple weeks. Is it like significantly different feel than Fiendsmith Ryziel, or what's like the difference?
I would say it feels very different from Fiends with Raziel, but it's got like the same like overall concept that like the deck wants. The shark cards offer you a very good grind game because how Toad works. Like that's a really good interaction. The big thing I think that that version might have over the Fiendsmith version specifically is even though I think the Fiendsmith version has a better grind game and plays better into certain board setups, depending, I think just being able to make another rank 4 in your turn is such a threat. It's just so good. I think over the course like the last couple weeks of playing that version of the deck at locals and stuff, you be able to just threaten Exciton and not say, "Oh, I'm losing an XCs for my turn by doing this," is just so good. Like that just feels so nice.
It looks like they were playing, or the Dominic Couch and Michael Albanese lists were playing the rank 5 to search Lancia, so that's very funny. Um,
Again, I really think it's correct. Like if you get the opportunity to do it against Malice, it's a blow. You just insta win. Like there's no discussion anymore.
yeah, there's some matches against Nick where he'll just go like seventh Tachyon reveal the rank 5. I'm like, well, I guess I gotta interact with this, or else I'm just dead.
Do you think that's one of the big reasons that only one, no, I guess four Malice made it past top 16?
I think it just wasn't as popular.
I think people went into this event expecting people to be playing the Tachyon card, so it was less popular. But I think over the course of our tournament day, I think we saw like 3 Raziel players were playing that card. Is that a fair number, Adam and
Yeah.
Rico?
I
Yeah.
think so.
It just was not that as popular and pure as I think people thought it was gonna be.
One thing that I thought was interesting about the Malice deck at this YCS, and it kind of happened at the last one, but they didn't reveal their lists until this one, was that Fiendsmith Malice really blew up. That was kind of a known quantity for the last couple of months, but I mean, this one kind of Pack and Triff's lists were kind of different compared to what the previous Fiendsmith Malice lists were trying to do. They were Pack and Triff, and I think was Sam. I think Sam was on it too. They were playing like the very minimal Malice engines. They were playing like 3 Underground, 3 Dormouse, a Gold Sark, and like a Terraforming, and then like one of the other 2 main deck names, and they were playing no TB11. And then they were maxing out on like the Fiendsmith stuff and Lubellion. Do you guys have any thoughts about that specific deck for this event and in general?
That's Adam's deck.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
Adam-
similar, yeah. It's
I
just
mean-
with it, instead of normally Lacrima, you normal the Dormouse.
Yeah.
I think that's just the way Malice should be played. Like the fundamental idea for that deck is use the good Malice card, set up GWC, and then everything else doesn't matter. And if everything else doesn't matter, plays cards that are good for grinding, and those are the Fiendsmith cards.
I hate to agree, but I don't think he's wrong, because then more often than not, I don't feel like I was losing when people played like the regular Malice deck. I don't think I'm losing to like the Malice stuff in that situation. Feels like all the other stuff that gets played in those decks more often than not. Because like if you get to the end board anyway, it doesn't matter. Like okay, it doesn't really matter what you ended on. If you said GWC and I don't have an answer for it, like that's just kind of the nail in the coffin more often than not.
That's really interesting that like what was initially touted as like the Cyber Shifter deck ends up like in some high level players' opinions thinking the optimal way to play it is with an engine that loses hard to Shifter.
I think the fact of the matter is, across our team, we lost 2 rounds or 2 like matches, to our opponents having Shifter. I think Shifter is a very good card, and if I wanted to play Shifter, I'd be playing the Malice version that plays Shifter. Like, I think that card is good enough to warrant playing it, and I don't think I think that's the determining factor is like, do I care enough? Do I think Shifter is a good enough card to main deck? If yes, play that version of Malice. If not, play the Fiendsmith version. Like, there's just no discussion.
For the
It
record,
feels like.
for the record, I do want to point out that though the Fiendsmith Malice took this event like really hard, we're recording this couple days after YCS Buenos Aires, and it looks like the regular version of Malice is more popular at this event. So I think this was like a
Okay.
one or two time meta call more than anything.
I don't know. I feel like I'd take Vegas more over Buenos Aires, but I don't know. I don't know South American YCSs. I just saw that.
I don't think you're wrong, Noah. I think more often than not, the player attendance at the South American events are usually lower, and they're usually a few months behind on like what is the correct text to be playing. You generally see that a lot, especially like I'm gonna use this as an example, but back during like cash format, people had at that event like I don't remember if it was Buenos Aires or if it was Brazil, but at one of the events, like the deck that won was Adventure Spray, a deck that in the context of that format was good like a month prior, and people thought it was good then. So it's interesting to see that like they're just kind of behind. So
Very interesting.
And I'd also like to say, just for the Fiends with Malice version, it plays into Lancia like way better than regular Malice. So if people were expecting like the pure Ryzel decks to search Lancia a lot, that could be a good meta call. But with the results from Vegas showing that not a lot were playing the 7th Tachyon, just because it is kind of like a neg one in most scenarios. Like you just kind of want all your cards to keep up an economy to outgrind in case your detonator gets dealt with. Just seeing that, you still can play like the Shifter Malice and just go for it, the combos. I do think that's probably why like the regular Malice will see a resurgence, just because Shifter is a really good card.
That
And
is true. I guess
in the
Tulsi
experience
actually
I
plays-
had playing against the Fiends with Malice deck, that's not really similar to like this grind aspect we're talking about. But the one I played against in Swiss, very much I was losing because my opponent was just being able to. They were like, summon back Engraver, make a link 2, summon out Lacrima, make a link 3. Like just having the extra bodies is just so threatening. Even if you do pull off a Lancia on them, it's just like light. It's like night and day.
Yeah,
So.
it gives you like the bestial effect of just bodies without having to rely on a hand trap that is iffy into some decks.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I'm very excited for Houston. That one's actually going to be streamed, right?
Yeah, we're
should
It
be.
will be.
Fingers
Yes.
crossed.
All right, so make sure to keep an eye on your inbox for the Team Evo watch party.
You know what's funny is that this podcast should go up if I edit it, because I'm not gonna have time to edit it tomorrow because of Evo. I might have time on Friday, so it might go
Bring
up
your
on
laptop.
Saturday morning.
Uh,
So
Very funny.
unfortunate
Oh, wait,
timing. I
I'm
was
gonna
sick
be-
this past Tuesday, so we didn't get a chance to record. But
And then some of the other general decks that did well at Vegas were like Mermail, 4 Mermail made in the top 16. 2 of them being on the same team, which is Kamal's team, and then we also had a team, and then other singleton Mermail players make it. So
Mermail also
And
won YCS Buenos Aires, so
the
And there
deck's
was
real.
one-
The deck's really good.
the deck's good,
And
and,
there was-
I don't like it. We are at 51 minutes,
That's how
which
you
means
know.
we do get a chance to talk about the little special little treat that I had planned for you. So, who here watched the Nintendo Direct?
Me.
I did.
All right,
Kind of.
down the line, $450 for a console, 70 or 80 for a game. Are you guys buying a Switch 2?
Yes, I think the price for the console is fine. Just the games, on the other hand, are not.
I would kind of have to agree with that. I think the console price is a little more expensive than people are used to with Nintendo, but that's fine. At some point, it was gonna go up. The fact that MSRP for games being 80 that's crazy. Actually crazy, in my opinion.
Dollars crashing, the tariffs are coming in,
It's
things
all-
are going to be $150. It's over. Gaming as we know it.
Noah would never get political.
Not on this podcast, no.
On the
I think
other
that we
podcasts,
in our
though,
first episode, I think that you went on like a rant about something like super minute, and I remember like listening to it while I was editing. I was like, I'm not fucking putting this in. I forget what it was about. It was something like stupid.
That would follow for something I'd rant about. Something interesting, though, is the fact that it's all digital.
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think some of the cartridges are not going to contain the games themselves. You're gonna have to download them, and the cartridge is just like a key to that.
What? There's no way.
No, look it up. It's super weird.
That's...
Ew.
I don't like that. I don't like that at
either.
all.
Well,
Listen,
why are we
physical
getting rid of
media.
physical gaming? Why is
I-
physical
I
gaming
couldn't tell ya.
dying?
Here's my thing. I don't really like having cartridges. I'm just not that kind of person. However, I like the idea that other people will keep like preserving it. So like, they should have physical games. It's super fucking weird that they just decided to cut it, especially when there's now a premium on the cartridges. They're charging more for the cartridges than they are the digital release.
That's just the direction everything's moving in, I guess.
Yeah, might be also direction, but maybe this is a little crackpot theory, but like if it's all downloaded, people can't really access the files as easily. Locks onto the files for that, but I don't know if that's going to be if like that's their main reason. It's probably going to be like a small reason, but
Yeah.
other than that, I can't really see like too big of a reason.
I have to imagine it's going to be kind of a big thing. Like modding for the Switch was like crazy popular.
Yeah,
And it was cool.
It was
It was.
cool.
It
I've
helped-
watched many Legend of Zelda like challenge runs where they have like a weird little quirk about the game.
people will find a way. It's just going to be a lot harder now.
Yeah. It just sucks because I don't know. Nintendo's
I have
kinda
I have
always
I have a
been like
deep
that.
feeling because of what they're doing is they're allowing games that are on the Switch 1 to be like brought to Switch 2. At some point, people are just gonna be able to get the game files, and then you're just gonna play the modded version on the Switch 1. Like that's probably like the first step is gonna be like
Yeah, it's weird because when you like build a system, like a second system, if it's backwards compatible, you have two options. Either the hardware is functionally the same, or the second system emulates the first system. For example, if you were to play like a PlayStation 1 game on a PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 2 is running an emulator to emulate the hardware of the PlayStation 1. So either that's happening, or the hardware in the Switch and the Switch 2 are similar enough as to where you can just run them natively. Yeah, if I don't know. Usually it's the emulator, like they have an internal software emulator that emulates the hardware, but not always, and it's hard to tell. Or at least I only know so much about it.
I do wish this Switch 2's like I guess we don't know like all the hardware for it, but just judging by what we saw so far, like it was a 1080 maximum. I wish the hardware was a little bit better, but as long as it's not going to be the clunky mess that was the Switch one, and we're able to actually play games without chugging, I'll be fine with it.
I personally had no problems running Pokemon Scarlet.
Oh my lord.
you're like one of the very few.
No,
Right?
he's being
No,
sarcastic.
I'm
he's
kidding.
he's lying to you.
How could you, Noah?
Listen, the other thing I just want to mention is I don't think there's like a level of me that just kind of doesn't like deep down care that much how much it is because so me and Rico we love Curvy Era. It's one of our favorite games of all time, and you see that direct had a trailer for a new one, so I kind of don't give a shit. Like I'm
Exactly.
buying one to
Take my
play
money.
Air Ride. Like
Take my money.
take my money now.
Mm-hmm.
That's seeing that Sakurai was directing Air Ride makes me really think that it's like we're just gonna get Ultimate Deluxe. This is so sad.
Let me see. I'm trying to find the graphics card that's in the Switch, too.
Oh, I see.
Because I'm trying to. Yeah. For those who don't know, I work in IT, so I know like a non-zero amount.
He's it.
Me when I'm it. I'm seeing on Reddit the comparison is to the 3060.
The Xbox 360?
That is not the same thing. That is what I said. It's
Close though, right?
Switch 2 in dock mode appears to run. Oh, that's 3 months ago. It said that's at least 3 frames per second in Pokemon. Well, a 3060. Let's see on this little chart. 3060 should run 1080p, 60 FPS, which is below I think what they told us it was gonna run.
They have a performance mode and they have a quality mode, I believe.
I see. All right, fair enough then. Well, if you want your Switch to run for exactly 30 minutes undocked, you can run the performance mode.
Do we know the comparison, I guess, from that graphics card to what's in the Steam Deck?
So if this Reddit post is correct and it's a 3060, I suspect it's not. But if it's correct, it's better than the Steam Deck one, according to this chart. Let's go.
Ooh.
So when Konami starts giving out Switch 2s, it'll be better than the Steam Deck. Let's go.
Yeah.
In my head, this is not true by any conceivable metrics, but in my head, Konami started giving away Steam Decks, and that's what pressured Nintendo to be like, we gotta release another Switch. So story at work, I've been telling a couple coworkers this. If I ever win a air fryer in a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, I'm bringing it to work. Now, unfortunately, my coworkers think I'm better at Yu-Gi-Oh than I am, so they think it's gonna happen any day now.
Oh, see, you've given them false hope.
Well, I don't want to tell them I suck. What do you mean? It's like
Tell them you popped the regional.
tell them I top. Oh, what a lie! It's very funny. When I told my parent the first time I got my invite to regional was like 2 years ago, and I told my parents like I'm going to the nationals, and they thought it was like a real thing. And at the time, I also thought it was like a real thing. And so they were like really impressed. And I think my dad mentioned it at my wedding in a speech. All right. I think that'll do it for today. If you are curious to see the deck profiles for the YCS tops, they will be in the description, including the one that was posted on someone else's channel, Rico.
Listen,
How could
you
you
know.
do that to us?
Why would you do that?
I tried to stop him. He's like,
No, you
he's
didn't.
like,
You said.
no. I
"Should
said, do we want to wait for Grant to do it on Team Evo? And you're like, eh.
No, that is not how that went.
We said
I
we
asked
were gonna
that
wait for
question.
Grant.
I asked that question, and you said, "Yeah, you can."
I said, if you really wanted to.
Listen, you just talk sometimes, and I just go, "Eh."
This is standard. Yeah.
This is good 3v3 synergy right here. This is
Yeah,
what
no,
you
listen.
act like
There
you just
were
tried
times in Vegas where I would say something and they go, I don't talk to me.
There would be times he'd look over at my game and, "How's the game going? What's going on?" I said, "Nick, stop talking. Go help Adam."
And then I would send him back to Rico.
I like the idea of you just being like, go talk to the other guy like 7 times in a row. Eventually, Nick's just sitting there.
In one of the games, he knew he was losing when he's playing against Mouse. He's like, he looks over, he shows me his hands, like, buddy, just go help Adam win. Make sure he wins.
I'm still in a 20-minute grind, game 1. Those
Yeah,
guys are done.
Still can't. I 2-0 a Malice player in like 15 minutes. Looked over at Rico. He's like, I'm in game 3. I'm not gonna win. Make sure he wins. Look over at Adam. I was like, what game we in? 1.
I got like 200 life points, but that's fine. I got this.
All right, and with that, we will see y'all next time. Peace.
Random attack.
Adios.
Bye-bye.